Hey folks, Evil DM here. How you doing today? How you doing, YouTube? What's going on? Shout outs to everyone out there that's been watching all my videos. We're starting a new series today. We're going to be calling this The Roots of Evil. Yes, The Roots of Evil this will be called. I'm going to be looking back at some of the things that helped form the gaming person that I am today. Certain games that I played when I was a young kid back in the 80s and then the 90s and then the 2000s. I'm going to look at a lot of things, but today this series is going to focus around the first thing that actually started me when gaming back when I was a very young kid, and that was this box set right here. This was the original box set, often referred to as the Moldvay box set. It was basic. This is basic Dungeons and Dragons right here. This is one of my original copies of it back from when I was a kid. It was kept in my parents' house. I mean, things could have gotten mixed up, and I have looked at it recently. It looks pretty much still intact, but we'll take a little quick peek inside. See, the box is actually still pretty well put together. But inside, we got a couple things in here. Was the rule book. Yeah, look, that's the rule book. Real thin, a couple pages. 70 pages about? 64, including the back, which had a table index on it. So 65 pages, and count the front, 66, whatever. But it was meant, as you can see, the holes there, as what we did was we punched holes in it. We added it to a 3-ring bind notebook, because the whole plan with these things were to be, you bought this, you used this while you played, because it only went through levels 1 through 4. And from there, you would buy the next box set, which was the expert box set, which allowed you to get more rules and go higher in level, so you can replace pages, pull them out of the binder. And they had this whole binder system thing that they wanted people to do back then. I don't think it was that great of an idea, so this one I always kept. And you can see the binding is pretty much shot on this one, and it's still good condition book, as you can see. And it's held together. I mean, I have one that's really beaten the crap out of, and that's the one I mostly used as I bought a second copy later on in life. But you can see some of the artwork in here as I flip through these pages. See, it's pretty much simple, straightforward, old school, straight to the point D&D. This is where it was basic. This is where no fuss, no muss, straight to the point of everything. 3 alignments, that's all you needed. Classes were races were classes, and you would also have a class itself, but mostly races were classes in this. So we'll get into that down the line. Also in this box set, you got an introductory module to help you, the new Dungeon Master, along the way. As you can see, the classic B2 Keep on the Borderlands by Gary Gygax. Levels 1 to 3. Good module. Here's a picture of the inside with the map. You can see it's kind of getting a little faded here. It's a good module. I'm gonna say if anybody knows me and if you've been listening to my videos for a while or listening to any of the podcasts I do, I'm not really a module person. So I never really ran these modules. I've run through them as a player, read them back and forth for various podcasts or various things I was doing in my life, but I have never run modules. I tried doing it back when I was younger, but I just can't. The way my brain functions when role-playing these games, I'm too much improv. I'm too much on the spot. I have to make things up as I go along and give the player a situation so they can have fun. If I get nervous if they're not having fun, so I always jump to whatever I think on my mind. That usually gives a good experience to the players at the table. We also have the mail giveaway stuff where it was kind of like a survey back then. This is what they would do for surveys, and you'd mail it in. And we had things you can do, the RPGA, which is now the Adventure League in these days. But the RPGA, here's the form for it. I did wind up joining the RPGA back in the day and was part of it for a very long time. It was fun. Rules were a little complex at some point, but it's, tournament rules, so whatever. And this was the catalog that came with it. 1981 TSR Hobbies Catalog, Gateway to Adventure. In here, you could buy the box sets, you can order it, because everything was done through the mail, remember? Some of you guys know that, some of you don't. This is back when they had first edition out. You can buy first edition stuff. Some of the rare stuff is in here. Some of the modules are in here, and pages are starting to fall out of this as I'm doing this, but it's so old. They're talking about, remember, there are some people in here who are watching this may remember the dungeon game. There's the original one, Wizards and Warlocks, Knights of Camelot, Gamma World, Boot Hill, Top Secret, which is up there on my shelf. You can't see it, but I'll probably go through that too eventually. Some of the collector's edition box sets from the original, the wood grain box sets, the chainmail, a couple other things in here. Some play aids, the Dragon magazine, which everyone loved. Oh, I remember when those things came out. We'd run to the friggin' store, pick those things up and read them just to see what the feedback was, mostly from other players, and to see what new things that they invented for you to even try in your game. Then you would run to, you know, the DM, oh, can I try this? And you'd be like, no, it's an NPC, you can't. And I remember asking the great Joe DM, as I call him, or Joe DM, if I could do this or that, and we would sit down and we would, you know, take a notebook and hash it all out, and we'd have papers everywhere all over the place as we were writing down numbers and different characters, ways to make things fit into the campaign, because, you know, he was good like that. And then we talk about Gen Con, one of the original Gen Cons. Going to Gen Con, the trade show back then, and then you could buy your t-shirts. I wonder if I could still purchase a no, I'm just kidding. And there are the t-shirts here on the back. It was $6 per t-shirt, up to a adult extra large. So I guess they didn't think they were fat gamers back then. So if you were fat, you were SOL as far as getting a shirt from DSR. You'd have to go elsewhere. Well, back then, there really was not many options if you were really fat. So what are you going to do? But that's the box set. I just wanted to give you guys a little introduction to this, what we're going to be doing. The next video, I'll probably go over a little bit more in detail what is entailed inside the book, the core book itself. And we'll get into a little bit of how to play this edition of Dungeons & Dragons, give you my thoughts and tips on it, and just give you some general things that I've observed over the years. Maybe we'll create a character, we'll, you know, learn how to play the game, and we'll go over certain spells and how to, you know, this edition right here was open-ended to the point that the DM was the adjudicator of the game. The DM was the one that made the final decision, just like the games today, but they didn't have all the rules like we have today to, you know, rely on for resolving situations. You'd have a rule in here, or you'd have a spell in here, and it was kind of like, well, what happens if we do this? And, well, that's not really covered. So, what do? Make a ruling. That's how it was back then. That's how it was encouraged. Basic Dungeons & Dragons rulebook, basic. You were encouraged to make rulings. So, hopefully you stick to this series. You give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe. Click that little bell icon so you know when a new video comes from me for my sage advice or from one of these Roots of Evil. And let me know what you think. Good night, everybody.